This video, we're going to show you how we created the thank you frontline sign that we just did a video on recently, and I want to show you some pretty cool tricks with some of the text effects here in the Compress Design software package, as well as show you a bit of how we kind of got this put together, where the artwork came from, and whatnot. So let's start off there. Let's start off with we're setting our page up 18 by 24, and what we're going to do is we're going to recreate this sign. The first thing we want to do is to get this artwork. 6 of these pieces of artwork actually are part of the Coleman & Company ColDesi collection of clip art we're putting out for our first responders, our teachers, and folks like that, doctors, nurses, truck drivers, and all. So what we did first off is we went over here to the Coleman & Company website, as you can see. If you scroll down on that first page, to here to the bottom, you'll see the section called Free Art. All right, I'm just going to show you where I grabbed one of these from. Here we're going to go to the Nurses Are Heroes. And when you scroll down, you'll see there are several different files here. Some of these files are print setup. Some of them are vector files, so you could cut them with vinyl, or you could use them to print. And still others, like this Nurses True American Hero, this one's actually been digitized for embroidery as well. Shows you right here how you can get the digitized files, these 2 different files here, or how to download all of the vector and raster art, which would be for printing. So that's what we've done. There are a number of different, if you look back here, there are a number of different types of files that we had on that page. Community that surround us, first responders, and whatnot. So we've downloaded those files onto a spot on our hard drive. Some of them will require a little more work than others because some of them are grouped up together. So we'll show you real quickly what we did with that. So go into here. And very quickly what we're doing is we're just going to, this kills me to do it, but we're going to get rid of it all. All right, so we're going to start with our blank screen. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import a couple of the graphics. Right here we have our first responders, so we're going to import that file. This is one of the ones that's going to need some work. All right, this file has, you'll see all of the first responder crests that we want. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to break this apart and get rid of the stuff that we don't want. All right, get rid of that outline, get rid of all of these, because I really just want these logos right here. Pull that over to there, get rid of this. Same thing here. Pull that over here. Get rid of all this. And finally get the fire logo. Pull that out of the way. Get rid of all of these. Now, these are vector files, so I want to go ahead and group them up. That way we don't have, as you'll see when I grab this one's made out of 1578 Bezier. So we're going to go ahead and group those up. And last but not least, that one. Group that one up. These, if you remember correctly, the way these were set up was across here. Let me just get them in the right order. This was this one. There we go. And I actually seem to remember that each of these was actually about 3.35 inches tall. So we're going to grab that, make it 3.35. Same thing with this one. And the same thing with this one. All right, so now we have all 3 of those set up. And now we've got to set them up so that they correspond like they did on that screen. And these literally were 17.75 inches apart. And amazingly, I have actually dropped them in exactly the right position. What I want to do is I want to take all of these, I want to align them so that they're all lined up with the same central axis. And then to make sure that this is correspondingly lined up there, I'm actually going to take the outer 2, group those together, and then select all of them and do an alignment to the center. So you see right now those are all lined up together. And those are grouped now. So we've done our bottom line already. It's out of the way. It's done. We're going to start bringing in some of the graphics for the top section. We'll start with, for my directory here, of the Nurse American Hero. This is one of our PNG files. This is a print specific file. Bring that in. As you can see, it's a monstrous file. So we're going to size that down. Bring it up onto the page. And that graphic, if I'm not mistaken, was about 2.5 inches tall. Position that up here. And then we're going to bring in, this one was one that I created as well. It's just a truck with the word truckers on it. We hadn't finished up our truckers artwork at that point. All right, you can see there. And then I'm going to bring in my additional files. As you can see, I brought in 2 more graphic, the Doctors to the Rescue and Teachers, the Essential Piece. And I want to go ahead and get those all set up and aligned like we did here on the bottom section. So we're going to start out by aligning these all to the same axis here. Now we know that's right. And by the way, I want to say these are around 21 inches, so I just need to move these out just a hair. So what I'm going to do is grab this one, bump it a couple times, bump this one a couple times, this logo a couple times, and this one right here. And we should be pretty much at about 21 inches wide, just a hair short of it. That's fine. We're going to take these now. I want to group these 2 together. And then we're going to take these 2 and group them together. This way, I can now use my alignment tools and align them this. Oops, not the what I would. Don't want to do it that way. The undo tool is our friend. We're going to take these, as I had mentioned before. Got 2 groups here. And we're going to align them this way. So that's all lined up. We're going to go ahead and group these together. And I want to take that up just a hair. All right. Now to make sure that we're all good here, we have a group up here. We have a group down here. We're going to align these this direction. They're lined up. And now I'm going to go ahead and group those up. And then we're going to do one last alignment to the center of the sign blank. So now that's all set up. These, which are my outer border essence of the sign, are all centered on the sign blank. Okay, so now we've got this all set up. Now comes the fun part. We're going to bring in the text. So I'm going to go over here and grab my text tool. Font I'm using here is Copper H, which is a Corel font. And you'll see that I have it at size at 3.262, which is the size that I used on the original sign. Now I'm going to put in our text. Thank you, Frontline. All right, and then we're actually going to make, I have no fill on it, so we're going to just put a stroke on the outside of this of 1/10 of an inch. All right, and there's our text. We don't need it filled. It's not important. You'll see why here in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and size this down so it fits roughly the same size we had before. And then we're going to bring in our American flag, which is going to be our clip path. It's going to be part of our clipping path to give us that flag effect in the back of the text. All right. Zoom back out to everything we've got selected. All right, as you see, the map is there. I'm going to go ahead and arrange this to the back. All right, and then I'm going to align it to the center of the sign blank, because that's where we want it to be at. All right, and when I start to look at that, I say, okay, I'm starting to see where this is going now. If I remember correctly, I actually think that we need to align this as well to the center of the sign blank. Oh, didn't want to do that. Went too far. With 2 lines of text. We're going to align this to the center of the page. Here, if I remember correctly, we just oozed into the end. There we go. So we're going to take this. First thing I want to do is I want to duplicate the text. I'm just going to leave that duplicate sitting right on top of the original. You'll see why. I'm grabbing one of the copies of the text and the American flag, and I am doing what is creating a clipping path. Clip on clipping, boom. What it's done, as you'll see, is if I grab this outline, that's the outline we say duplicated. So it stayed there. The second text was actually used as the clipping path. And then therefore, it's, as you can tell, it's gone. It's been part of the clipping path, but the black outline remains so that you can see our text. You wouldn't want to leave the text open like this with a white. I'm going to go ahead and group those together. I'm going to do an alignment on these to the center of the sign blank. All right. Now we have all of this graphic all set up, everything centered up to the sign blank. We have our text with our clipping path. We have the artwork, which we've downloaded most of it from the Coleman & Company site, from the collection of the free artwork we've been offering out to our customers for doctors, nurses, teachers, first responders. The list goes on and on. There you have it. This is how we set up the artwork. We're ready to start printing some signs.